Hey guys, it's Sammy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you about my NovaTeen Book Festival experience, what I did there, what it was like. If you ever want to go in the future, some beginner's tips. This was my first time there, so I'm not like super pro, but I'll give some tips and then I'll just talk about the general experience and I'll show you the books that I got signed because I know that it's kind of what everyone's kind of here for, but I'm going to keep that for the end so you guys can get a little hype about it. First off, I'm just going to talk about the overall experience, my experience. So NovaTeen Book Festival took place in Arlington, Virginia at Washington Lee High School. Doors opened at 9:30 and I got there at 10. I live about an hour and 15 minutes away, so me and my boyfriend drove there. He drove me there. I didn't want to drive that far because I hate driving, but that's beside the point. So we drove there and we arrived at around 10-ish. When I got there, I bought some books from their little table they had there because I wanted to support the bookseller that was providing all the books for the event, and I wanted to support their event because I did bring a lot of books there to get signed that I already owned. And then I also got a t-shirt, which I'll show you. So that's what I did when I first got there, and then after that there was a lot of panels and games. So the first panel I went to was the fantasy panel, which had Renee Ahdieh, Wendy Higgins, Alwyn Hamilton, Mary G. Thompson, and Peter Nell Van Ardsdal. It was so interesting and I really loved hearing everybody's fun stories. This whole day was very relaxed and chill. There was not that many people there. I'd say even by the end of the day when the signing started, there was only about 200 people there tops. So there wasn't crowded, it wasn't hectic, it was very chill. And then after that I went to a game panel. I went to the dating game, which had which was like them talking, like playing the dating game as their characters, and then one of the moderators there picked which favorite book character they wanted to be with. It was really funny. And that had Renee, Leslie Livingston, and Will Walton there. And I love Will Walton. He was so funny and so creative. He talked about this, you had to describe like your perfect date, and he went on this long spiel about like his perfect date for his character, and it was so good and so imaginative, and I really enjoyed him. After that we stayed in that same room and we watched a bunch of different authors do Family Feud, which was also really fun because a couple of the people in the audience went up and got to play with them. And then after that it was lunch, but I went to the YA Jeopardy game and I watched everybody do YA Jeopardy and I played along, and it was a lot of fun as well. After that, from like 1:05 to 2:25, I went and got lunch. So we came there and we drove there. My boyfriend has a really big truck, and if you know anything about DC, that kind of area, trucks don't go, like there's no trucks. So it was really difficult to get places and especially difficult to find parking, so we were gonna go to Chipotle, but we couldn't find parking there and he wasn't about to park on the street because it wouldn't have been a good idea. So we kept driving around until we found a CVS. So we went in the CVS and we got some chips and stuff, and that's what we did for our lunch, and then we just chilled in the car and waited it out. So then we came back around 2:35 and we went to the Love on the Rocks panel, which is about like romance books, with Julie Boxman, Katie McGarry, Rafi Middlefilet, and Caleb Roig, and we watched that and that was really good. And then we stayed in that room for the next two panels. I saw the reflection panel about how characters see themselves, but then how you perceive the character, and that was with J. Robin Brown, M.E. Garrard, Tiffany G. Jackson, and Will Walton again. And that was a really good panel. Three of the authors had wrote LGBT books, and then Tiffany D. Jackson wrote Allegedly, which is about a black youth convicted of murder allegedly. And it was so good. I think that was my favorite panel of the day, other than the fantasy panel, because I really enjoyed the books that the authors were talking about and I could understand what they were talking about most of the time. And then obviously the keynote, which was by Nina LaCour, and she gave a beautiful keynote about her struggles as a child, but then relating it all to what is happening now and the struggles that our country is going through right now. And it was beautiful. And then after that we went to the signing. So that was basically my day. It was so much fun. I like mingled around with authors at all points. Like you would just walk out in the hallways, and since it was such a low-key event, the authors would just be out there taking pictures with each other and people would be taking pictures with them, and I just saw authors just everywhere, and it was like the weirdest thing because like we idolize these authors, and it was just weird to see them mingle around because they're normal people. Like it's weird to think about it though, because you see them on Twitter and you see them on YouTube and all this different stuff, and you don't really think of them, like this sounds terrible, but you don't think of them as real people. And then you go to one of these events and they're completely normal and you hang out with them and it's a really great time. So now for some tips for some newbies. that are planning on going to this next year. I'm not sure if they're having it next year. They should be. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you ever want to go to this in the future, this is my tips. You don't really have to get there early. I don't know if this, at least right now, it was not very crowded. It was very low-key. I don't know if it's gonna blow up next year. It may. I would love it too, because this honestly was like, it seems like a really great place. It had lots of amazing authors. It had such thought out panels, but just get there whenever you want, really, because just look at the schedule, see what panels you really want to see, and then just show up for those panels and then stick around for the end so you can make sure you see the keynote, which is always, I'm sure, always beautiful, and then you can get your book signed at the end. Another thing is that make sure you get a wristband when you come in. The wristband is what they call you out from during the keynote so you can get your book signed. So the way they did it is there was a bunch of different color wristbands, and then they called out the color of the wristband so you went out. They did it in rainbow order. I don't know if they always do it in rainbow order. I got an orange wristband, so I was the second group to go out to the signing. Make sure that you don't bring 10 million books from home. I brought a lot of books from home because I really loved all of these authors and I just needed to bring all the books. But make sure if you do bring a lot from home that you do buy some books from their table or you pre-order them online. There's a bunch of stuff that you could have done. I decided to buy it there because the pre-ordering confused me a little bit. But make sure you support it so that they can continue doing this in the future, because their sponsors are what allow them to keep doing this. And so when you buy their books and you buy a t-shirt and stuff like that, it helps them out. And then, just so you guys know, I was very confused about this because I didn't know how the signing was going to work. The way the signing worked is that there was a bunch of rows of like cafeteria tables. So there was like one big row around the room, like 2 rows like this, and then 2 rows in the middle. And then each author was situated there. There's usually 2 to a table. And then you could line up behind them, and they called us out by color from the keynote. And then each group went into the signing room, and you just went into each line whatever you wanted of the author. But there wasn't like long lines. Like I said, it wasn't crowded, so the longest I had to wait for was Renee Attier. So let me just talk to you real quick about some of the craziest things that happened. The craziest things that did happen during the signing. It was so great meeting all these authors. Like I said, I'm going to show you the signed books in a second. One of the craziest things that happened is that you guys may know that I have an ARC. The only paper ARC I have of Kissing Max Holding by Katie Upperman. So when we got into the line to get into the signing room, I asked one of the organizers if Katie was signing books because she doesn't have any like books out. I just had an ARC of it, so the only thing that's out right now of hers is ARC. And the organizer was like, she just left. And I was like, oh, okay, that's totally fine. But then another organizer overheard her talking about it, and she was like, she's still here, like, we can go get her real quick. And she starts running after Katie, who like was already walking out of the building, and Katie came back and signed my book. And it was like the most amazing thing. She signed my book. I'll show it to you in a second. And it was so cool. She was so nice, and it was so, like, I felt so bad for making her like come back and like sign my book, but she was so nice. And then last night, I was scrolling through Twitter and like going through my feed and like looking at the hashtag, and I found out she tweeted me, like not tweeted me, but like she subtweeted me in like a good way. Here, I'll insert the tweet here. But basically I saw this and I was like, oh my god, that was me. Like, that was me. I did that. And I was so like awestruck because she said that like that was one of the best moments she had there, and I was like, It makes me feel so whole because I'm so excited to read her book. It sounds like such a cute contemporary, but I'm not gonna get into that. That was just one of the craziest moments, and like honestly one of the best moments. But then obviously I got into the room and I started getting my book signed, and I met so many amazing authors. And then I met Renee, and she signed my book, and she also was nice enough to get a picture with me. I'll insert it here. It's now my Twitter, AV whatever. And oh my god, she was the nicest. She said that she was so excited that I tabbed, like she was like, it's the best thing to see people, to see that people tab books, and she was like, that's the best thing that an author sees is when they tab the books. And I love tabbing books, so I was so excited to hear that. And then another author actually pointed that out. Dina LaCour pointed that out. She was like, what book is this? And I was like, oh, that's The Wrath and the Dawn and the Rose and the Dagger. And she's like, oh, that's so cool, or whatever. And she was like, I love when people tab my books because it just means that, like, they're really thinking about it enough to tab their favorite parts and tab what they really like, or tab like stuff to keep track of it and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know, I just felt so special when I did that because everyone was like, all the authors were making comments about it, and I wish I had read, the one biggest thing that my biggest regret of this is I wish I had had more time to read more authors, more of these books, because I didn't know I was going until like 3 days prior, and then I was trying to finish The Wrath and the Dawn. It was just crazy town. So I didn't get to read all of them, but all the authors were so amazing, so amazing, and I will get into the books that I got signed. I'm not going to talk about what the books are about. I'll just talk about briefly like my interaction with the authors and stuff like that. And then that's gonna be it, guys. So let's get into me showing you the books. So in total I got 12 books signed, and then I got a freebie. This little freebie is a free preview of Alex and Eliza, which is, I believe, a Hamilton love story. I don't know anything about Hamilton. I'm not even gonna pretend I do. But I saw this and I was like, hey, this seems like a cool thing to have, so I grabbed it, and it's just like a chapter sampler. So starting off with the 2 books that I actually read and I got signed The Wrath and the Dawn and The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Attier. As you can see, they stickered all the books that you brought in so they know how many were going in and going out, sort of stuff like that. She wrote to Sammy and then signed her name, just a real classic sort of thing, because she was talking to me a lot, so it wasn't like she was going to write me a long message. On the other one too, to Sammy, Renee Attier. Really super nice. She was so nice, and her makeup looked amazing, and I am incredibly jealous of those skills because I have 0. She was obviously the only author there that I'd actually read their book, and I felt terrible because I didn't know what to say to any of the authors. I really didn't even know what to say to Renee. It was really bad. I just kind of like was like, hi, and she was like, hi, how are you today? And I was like, good. It was incredibly embarrassing, but fun and amazing nonetheless. And the next book I got signed was American Street by E.B. Zaboy, I believe. And I also got a little bookmark with it. It just says American Street. It has the little thing on the back. And she said, to Sammy, E.B. Zaboy. I didn't really talk to her much because I really didn't know that much about this book, and I just know that I wanted to read it in its own voices. Next book I got signed was Nowhere But Here by Katie McGarry. I bought this book at the event because it was a paperback. It was about the same price as I could get it anywhere else. Katie McGarry was so funny and so nice, and she was talking about how much she loves writing romance and how like she loved being a teen because it's all those first experiences, and she said she loved writing this book. So she signed it, and I also got a bookmark. And it says, Sammy, enjoy the ride. Wind. It says wind. I thought it said ride. Huh. It says enjoy the wind, Katie McGarry. The next book I got signed was Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. She was so nice, and I do know a little bit about this book, and I asked her when the second book was coming out, and she was like, November, December-ish, and then she was like, I can't tell you much about it, but I can tell you that it's about the sister in this book rising a dead army or something like that. And I obviously haven't read this book. I'm not sure if she knew that, but that sounds really freaking cool. So I'm so excited to read this. And then let me show you. It said Sammy, she put a star at the top, and she said make magic, and then Zodiac her signature. And she was super nice. I am so excited to read this book. I told her that, and oh, so excited. Next book I got signed was Tell Me Three Things by Julie Boxam. This book, Julie was really nice. I told her that I really was excited to read like with chat form, because there's a bunch of like chat logs and stuff in here, and she was like, it starts off with email but then it goes to texting, and she made a joke about how no one emails anymore. I was like, girl, it's fine, people definitely still email. And told her I was really excited to read this on the beach, and she signed it for me, and she said, Dear Sammy, 1, enjoy, 2, so great to meet you, 3, you rock. And then she XO Julie Boxman, she crossed off her name and then signed it. And she was super sweet, and I am super excited to read this book. The next book I got signed was American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brandon Keeley. As you can see, a mishap happened with a sticker that I probably shouldn't have peeled off. It probably should have just stayed there. But I met at the signing Brendan, wow, I suck. And I told him how grateful I was that he wrote a story like this, and he was like, thank you for caring. And then it wasn't until after that I said that, that I realized he actually signed it and said thank you for caring. Here, I'll show you. thanks for caring, and then crossed off his name. Oh, and then he said all love, and then he said, signed it, crossed off his name, right, and signed it. So that was really awesome. I hope that one time, like soon, I can read Jason Reynolds too, so he could sign the book and it would be a really great time. I'm super excited to read this. It seems like a really impactful story. Once again, we'll talk about more in a book haul coming to you soon. Next book I got signed was Hold Still by Nina LaCour, and she has tons of books out. This is the only one I own, and I've had it for quite a while now. So she just signed it, and I said I'm really excited to read it. And she said this is one of my favorite books. And I was like, oh. And she was like, Sammy, with best wishes, Nina LaCour. And I was like, yay! And like I said, her keynote was amazing, spectacular. I really hope that they filmed it so they could upload it one time because it was so, so, so good. Then the next book I got signed was My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Birdie Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Jody Meadows was the only one that was at the signing, so I got her to sign a book. And I also got a bunch of freebies, like a lot of freebies with her because she has a bunch of books that are coming out soon. So I got like a little postcard sort of thing that says the Orphan Queen on it, and then I got a sticker / book plate of My Lady Jane. Then I got a My Lady Jane bookmark. Oh my goodness. And the Mirror King bookmark as well. Sammy, heart, and then signed it Jody Meadows. So pretty cool. She was really nice. She was super talkative, and her line was like super long. She was so nice though. She was talking about how I asked her if it was hard that she had to write with 2 other authors, and she was like, this was the easiest book I've ever written. And I was like, wow, really? I would have thought it would have been harder to like collaborate like that. And she was like, I only had to write 1/3 of it. And I was like, you right. The next book I got signed was Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is one of my most anticipated reads of this year, just because the story itself sounds really, really interesting, but also the message it sends is also really important. So I met her. She was super nice. She was so young. Like she couldn't have been like, oh man, she was so nice on her panels and the signing. So I got my book signed. I also got a little bookmark, and then I also got a SAT card because I think maybe SAT has to do with something in this book. So I picked one of the words that I didn't know, which is perfidious, which is deceitful and untrustworthy. Oh, and it like relates to the story. That's so cool. I didn't even realize that. And then she said, to Sammy, thank you so much. Happy ready. It looks like it says ready, but I'm sure she meant reading. And then she said, keep pushing, and then signed it with her name. And she was so nice. I wish I could have talked to her more. I wish I could have talked to her about this book. But hopefully in the future I will meet her again and probably rave about this book to her because I'm so, so, so excited. Next book I got signed was Defending Taylor by Miranda Keenly. And she was super nice. She signed the book. I didn't really talk to her much. I was like, this is going to be the first book I read. And she was like, you know there's a lot more. And I was like, yeah, but this one I want to read first. And she just laughed. And then she signed it. Oh, and I got a little bookmark as well. She said, Dear Sammy, you rock. And then she signed her name. Obviously you can see she has a lot of other books, but this is the first one I owned, so this is the first one I plan on reading. And then finally, reverting back to my fun story earlier, I got Kissing Max Holden by Katie Upperman signed, and she signed it, and she also gave me a signed book. Oh no, where's my signed bookmark? Oh, here it is. She was like, I also have bookmarks, and I was like, sure, and it was already signed, and it was really cute. And she said, to Sammy, happy reading, Katie. And she was so nice. It made me so happy that she came back and signed my book and then tweeted about me, and it was just lovely, lovely, lovely. And then, like I said, I got a t-shirt which just says NovaTeen Book Festival. But then it has like their sponsors on the back, and I thought it'd be just a nice shirt to have and support them and remind myself that I went, because I'm sure I'll forget eventually. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. If you ever have the chance to go to NovaTeen Book Festival in the future, I would 100% recommend it, especially to newbies that don't know anything about the book community or bookish events. I've never been to one before. This is definitely a first. It was my first and I absolutely loved it. If you have any questions about NovaTeen Book Festival or any questions about bookish events, comment them down below if you're curious about anything at all, even if you're watching this in the future. Comment down the questions if you're anything at all. I will be happy to answer them. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, all of my social media links are down below for you guys to check out. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye! But I'm weak, and what's wrong with that? Boy, oh boy,
not falling.